as if I was going to come to your lab, and we'll keep in touch and we'll discuss that. And I think they would be happy to assist you. If they're not, then I wouldn't consider going there. And I think that's fair. As long as you're honest about that. Everyone understands. When people come to interview with me, I send them to all the other labs in the department. I say, if you're going to decide to work in my lab, I want it to be not just I'm the only person you talk to, because you've decided that that's the best place. So that's fair. Okay, so how are they evaluated? So they actually give scores, and the different agencies weight them a little differently. So for incoming students, where you have one or a few years of research experience, not as many as a senior grad student or postdoc, for NSERC, 50% of the ranking goes towards grades and previous awards, 30% to research ability or potential, and 20% to these interpersonal skills. CHR is a little more skewed towards research, so less grades, more research.
First, when we talk about awards, do they just look at whatever's relevant to research awards? Or?
Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. That's a good question. What kind of awards they look at? All kinds of awards are good. They show you've done leadership, in many aspects. And your awards may also apply in these areas. The Dolphin Award I got when I was in second grade or something. Okay. So what are they looking for in academic excellence? So it's worth 40 to 50%. They want to look at the type of program and courses you pursue. So they'll be able to interpret. If you took one of these crazy honors programs, maybe you did, where you take 12 courses every term, and they're all incredibly hard courses, they'll recognize that. They'll balance the fact that you didn't get 99 because you took all the easiest courses. They'll look at the course load, your overall average, so you need to have first class grades or A- for the last 2 years, and that's for all courses. So don't blow off your electives, right? And if it's available, they look at relative standing. So that's something I often write for my students, to put it in context. I'll say, this student got a 92, but it was the top grade in a class of 300 students. That's different than saying they got a 92, but the class average was 98, which didn't do so well. Okay, and they'll look at trends. They'll give you credit for having done better. Not everyone does, terrifically in their first year in college, because you have other activities that Okay, previous awards. Our friend here asked this question. Maybe you've won this award. Okay. So it indicates you've been the top of some group. You've done something good. So one thing that's important in these awards is to tell them what it means. If you won this award, I might not know what it's for. It might be for doing something stupid. I don't know. Okay? So tell them everything. Name of the award, who gave it, what it was given for, how much money, how long it was, whether it was a competitive award or you got it because you were the only person eligible for it. Okay, and it can be anything. Best Student Project Awards, other sort of activities, athletics, leadership, service. Shows you're well-rounded, you have skills, you have interpersonal skills. You've organized a team, you've been on a team, you were in the Olympics. So pretty good. Okay, and you should have your own little CV. You should keep it up to date. All the good things you do. Okay, researchability is 30 or 40%. And what they really want to know is whether you've developed some of the qualities that will predict you'll be a good grad student. Like that guy who's asking questions, that's a good quality.
Okay, whenever it comes to the awards, how long ago should you go? Because it's if I won some award in elementary school, it's not going to be good to bother putting that on.
I'd say last 5 years, definitely everything in university, something from the end of high school, if it's super, if you got a Phi Beta Kappa key or something. Yeah, or in high school if you're, something good in the athletics or something. Yeah, not too long ago. I was just joking about elementary school. Yeah.
So in the 3 categories, like academics, researchability, and whatever the third one is, where do you see the biggest variance in scores? Because it's one thing to say it's 40, 40, 20 or whatever, but if the scores vary a whole lot more in one category, then that makes it more important.
Well, it's probably that last category, which is sort of the undefined category. Okay. So, when I rank these, I'd look at grades. Everyone's got good grades, so it's either really, really good grades or just really good grades. And then research and researchability, what you look at is have they been in the lab or done some research activity, and I'll tell you how did they describe it, did it sound like they knew what they were doing, what the importance of it was, and then any indication that it was successful. Did they get their name on a paper? Did they give a poster? The last one, the sort of leadership, communication skills, that's really sort of open-ended, and there it's really hard to judge. So I think having more things in that category can really boost you above all the other people who are also outstanding. So if you've, in the science arena, you get presented a poster at a national meeting or a national undergraduate meeting, you've given key talks somewhere, you've led a team, you've done some community service, outreach, all those are really good things that give people a higher boost.
Okay, so may I have, so one of the, for CHR, one of the big points though was the sponsor assessment that actually count for a lot of points, up to 40 points. 40% of the total points. So I think at your level, you are pretty good scientists, you got a lot of experience in research, but very often what you actually don't pay attention to enough is actually the quality of the letters that you need to get. Because these days, actually, what you got is I guess Mike's going to show an example of that, where the sponsor may say outstanding, 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 but at the end, the sponsor may not provide any narrative to explain why you're so outstanding. And we're actually asked to evaluate all of the narrative that is associated with the letter. So it's very important that you really pick up carefully who's going to be providing those letters, and actually you make sure that they understand that they really need to explain all the ranking that they do, because if they don't, this is where you actually will end up losing very important points. So, letter of sponsors from the sponsors are actually very, very, very important for CHR. So that's something you need to plan ahead, and you need to actually give enough time to the instructor or your supervisor or whoever is providing the letter to write up a very detailed letter. That's very important.
Most of the time these letters are actually confidential, so we don't really have access to them. So I don't really know how we are supposed to get to know how and what my supervisor says about me.
Well, okay, that's a very good question. And actually, when I review applications, I always, because I need to explain what my ranking, and usually what I do when I see that the letter of support were not really solid, or there were issues with some of those letters of support, I actually will indicate in my evaluation that actually there were a problem with some of those letters. So the students will actually get the point that, oh my gosh, actually some of those letters were not really supported. And that's so usually, and I think this is a trend within the CHR peer reviewer. So they will let you know that there were an issue with your letters. So you will know, oh, maybe I should be rethinking this. The other things is, very often when you ask for a letter of sponsorship, you just ask the person, okay, do you feel you can actually write up a very solid letter for me? And usually they will let you know. Or, oh, I'm too busy, or maybe not this time. So I think you can really get, if you can feel if that's going to be a good one or not. Yeah.
Maybe one thing to add from another workshop we did recently was that timing is obviously very important. Most of the supervisors will probably be very busy, so give them enough time to actually prepare to write the letter. And one of the supervisors actually mentioned that he found it very good from a student that he followed up, so he gave him like 6 weeks or so and said, I need it in 6 weeks. And he didn't get to it, and then the student sent a reminder like 2 weeks before. He said, I just wanted to ask if everything's fine with the letter, and the supervisor said it was very helpful to him that okay, yes, in 2 weeks I have to have it done, and then he got it done in that time, and that timing is really important for them as well.
And make sure when you ask supervisors or sponsors to write your letter that you provide them with your CV and update it, so they can actually look over and be like, oh, well, she's in my lab, and she also, led this team, and she went to the Prof research conference, and even though they don't know what you did, those things, they can also comment that you were there, because those things might not be picked up in other parts of your application. So they can really emphasize the non-research things.
Okay, so we'll talk about some of those things. Maybe we'll move on a little bit, and then if there's more questions, if they're not answered, we'll come back to them. So in terms of your research contributions, where the reviewer finds out about that, you'll describe your past research experiences. You'll get letters from your previous supervisors that will explain what you've done. And you've got a research contributions list. And this is where you should put any papers, posters,